Well, hello everybody, and welcome back to TNS Virtual Farms and Oklahoma Ride Along. Now, in this series, if you guys haven't seen it before, it's kind of half role play, half just let's play. And the topic of conversation is Farming Simulator 19. I still enjoy Farming Simulator 19, even though FS22 is out. Now, if you saw the last episode, then you know what we're doing here. And if you didn't, well, we're sowing wheat. That's what we're doing. Now, there's a couple of new things that I'm going to show you on this episode. One of which we're going to get to see very, very soon. Because as you can see down in the bottom right hand corner, I am almost out of wheat in the drill. So we're going to have to go over to my pickup over there in just a second, right over there. And we will get this thing topped off with seed. I do believe I have just the right amount of seed in bags on the back of my truck, but we'll check that out. Now, if you tuned in on the last video, you also know that I'm playing with a brand new, to me, mod that is called Real Life Numbers. And I'm going to show you today another couple of interesting aspects of the Real Life Numbers mod. Alright, so we had course play going, and it's telling me that it's out of seed and needs to be refilled. So let's taxi over to the pickup, and we will put some seed in this drill. Now, as I was saying, one thing about the Real Life Numbers mod is the author of that mod encourages you to use a couple of other mods. Now, one of those mods is the Realistic SEEDER mod, which I hadn't really seen before. I don't believe before I started investigating and reading the manual that comes with this Realistic Numbers mod. But I'm going to tell you a little bit about the Realistic SEEDER mod, and I'm going to show you a little bit about the Realistic SEEDER mod right now. Alright, so we'll get pulled up here by the truck. Let's hop out, and we're going to go take a look at this bags of seed in the back of my truck. Now, if you'll notice, these aren't just regular bags of Pioneer seed. They say wheat on the bags, right? We're sowing wheat out here, so we need seed wheat. And that's what these bags are. Let's go over to the shop quickly here, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Now, along with the Realistic SEEDER mod, there's some script that goes along with the mod to implement the mod, but there's also some equipment and some things that come along with the mod. So the realistic pallets are one thing, and now as you can see here, there's a seed pallet for every type of seed, whether it be canola, soybean, corn, or maize, alfalfa seed, cotton seed, whatever the case may be. There's fertilizer, there's lime. Whatever the case may be, there is a pallet for the different types of seed. And if we want to go back, there's also a realistic super sack or big bag that you can buy the seed in. And finally, there is these single bags that you can use to buy the seed. Now, and my fields are still pretty small. I'm only in my second year of my farm, and my fields are still pretty small, so I really don't need a lot of times I don't need a whole pallet of seed or something like that. Now, I'm in the process of customizing my my Realistic SEEDER mod to my liking. So as you can see here, my wheat seed bags contain 50 liters instead of the standard 100 liters that all these other bags have. Now, I like to customize my game to play it how I want to play it. And so that's one of the things I'm working on. I'm trying to get my seeding rate and all that sorted out between the realistic seeder mod and the real life numbers mod. Okay, so along with the bags and the pallets, we also have some equipment that comes along. Now this is a pallet fork, and it's a fork that you can use, and it will lock the pallet to the fork. I haven't tried it yet, but I'm assuming, you know, with the description down here, that's what it is. And we also have a big bag lifter that go along with the realistic super sack or big bag setup that comes along with the realistic seeder mod. So pretty cool mod. These are the guys right here that create the mod, LSFM Innovations. So go and check them out. There's their website right there if you're interested. But so far it's a pretty cool mod. All right, so anyways, back to the task at hand. Now I believe I got 13 bags here. Maybe I've got 12 now, because I may have already put one in. So we're just gonna hold this up here. We're gonna do this by hand very quickly. We'll have this done and we will be back to seeding. All right, we are going again. Now, most of the time, guys, if you are just tuning in for the first time, maybe, or it's been a while since you've watched one of the episodes in this series, most of the time, I'm from the United States, and so most of the time when I play, I use the unit converter light mod, which changes, you know, instead of showing liters, instead of showing liters for like amount of seed and for amount of fertilizer, it would have gallons. You know, it changes hectares to acres, kilometers to miles, things like that. Most of the time I play with that. However, one of the things that I have noticed about one of the aspects of the real life numbers mod is that there's a conflict with the unit converter light. Now, I haven't really seen an issue with unit converter light in any other way so far, except the one aspect which I'm going to show you in a few minutes. But there does happen to be a conflict, I think, with that one area. So it's not really that big a deal. It's just something that kind of got to keep in mind and kind of have to work around. This is a really nice combination. I like the this is just about the right size tractor for this size of a drill, for a no-till drill, that is. Looks good together. It's a good pair. I like it. I'm liking this new drill, which is, you know, you saw it for the first time in the previous episode. But I'm really liking the fact that, for one, I can no-till with this thing, and for two, I can use it to put down liquid fertilizer at the same time I am no-tilling a weed in. So speaking of that, let's go and take a look at our nitrogen fertilizer rate that we're using here. So in the field on the other side of the barnyard. It's field number, let's look quickly at our map. So it would be field number 32, which is just on the other side. Let's just go to the menu here and we can see. So field 30, we're on 33 right now. Field 32, that is that's the field that we worked on the last episode. In this field, because I forgot to change it, we ended up actually putting down 19 liters per hectare of fertilizer. Now I was like a pass and a half into this field before I remembered, oh hey, I wonder what my my fertilizer application rate is, because I have not taken any soil samples yet for any of my 4 fields. So there's no automatic variable rate mapping or anything like that going on, because I have not sampled any of my fields. Last time it was, I thought it was going to be pretty expensive, so I didn't even, or last year, which was the first year I was farming, I was just trying to kind of get on my feet. I had older, smaller equipment. I didn't have a lot of money to start with. I had just about $20,000 to start with last year. And I had a lot of maintenance to do on equipment. I had, a lot of money to spend to get my first crops put in and all that. So I did not do any soil sampling for any fields. And I checked with a company earlier this fall, because I thought, it's like a kind of a crop consulting, kind of agronomics, agronomy type consulting company. And I thought, maybe I can just pay those guys to come out and just do it for me, because even if I do it myself, I still got to rent the soil probe. I still got to do all that. So I thought, maybe I could just get another company or get a company to come out and do it for me. That way I know it's done, right. I can be around when they're doing it, kind of watch them, etc. And so anyways, I kind of checked into it, and it was super expensive. It was just crazy expensive. So I wasn't gonna, again, this fall, I wasn't going to do any soil sampling. But I thought, maybe I'll look around and see if somebody else does it. And I got to talking to a couple of the farmers around here. I've started going and kind of drinking a cup of coffee with them in the morning to just kind of visit. They're kind of coming around. If you guys don't know the whole backstory of the farm, my uncle used to own this farm, and he's since passed away. And he had some issues towards the end of his life, and he basically made a lot of enemies around here. So it's kind of taken me a while to sort of get in sort of the good graces of the farmers of the area. But anyways, I got to talking to some of those guys, and they said, well, you need to try this other company, because they also do it, and it's probably quite a bit cheaper. So I got to checking around, and I'm actually decided that I am going to go ahead and spend the money this year, and I'm going to have 2 of my fields soil sampled, and the company is going to do it. So let's set that up right now. We're going to go to our precision farming tab, and the 2 fields that I'm going to have sampled are these 2 fields right here, 34 and 35. And actually, the way the map is set up, they're the same field. So if I'm going to have 34 sampled, it's also going to do 35, vice versa. The reason why I'm going to have these 2 fields sampled is because this 34 is going to be put into corn in the spring. And this 35 is going to be put into soybeans in the spring. So that's the plan anyways, as of right now. That's the plan. So I know one of these 2 fields is going to is going to get put into corn. And if it's going to go into corn, the seed is expensive. It takes, you know, a decent amount of inputs, and I want to try to have the soil in the best condition I can get it in before before I grow my next crop of corn. Because last time, if you guys didn't know or don't know, I grew corn on this field 33, and I saw whenever it got time to do the yield map. So as you can see here, when it got around time to do the yield map, this was one of the poorer farms or poorer fields that I could have grown corn on. Now, I had wheat in both of these fields this last year. So both of these are in wheat stubble. I had soybeans up here this last year, and obviously I said before I had corn over here. So I don't want to really make the same mistake of putting the corn in the least productive spot for this coming year. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to request the soil sample on field 34 and 35, and it's going to cost me $40 plus, let you see here, to cover the drilling, and then I'll have to pay another basically $2,500 to cover the analysis that's done by the laboratory. So, you know, I'm spending a chunk of change here, really. I mean, by the time it's done, it's going to be close to $4,000. But, you know, for the amount of money that I'm going to put in seed and to be able to get my nitrogen just right and all that, I feel like it's probably going to be worth it. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to do that. So this is now sampled, and I don't really know how long it's going to take to get the analysis back, because this is the first time I've ever done this. But we'll see, I guess, when it's ready. Probably not going to be this episode. It's probably going to be sometime in the next episode. But anyways, so let's get back to our tractor and see what it is doing. See how it's doing. So I picked up my liquid fertilizer rate on this field from 19 liters per hectare to, you can see that right here is what I'm talking about. On the other field, straight ahead of me across the trees, it was 19 liters per hectare. So that's really not as much fertilizer as I intended to put on. I just forgot to increase it. So I increased it on this time. I'm putting on 98 liters per hectare. So we'll kind of see how it does. Now in the last year, if we'll go back and look, so last year, this is really the field that needed the nitrogen anyways, because it was way down in places on yield, and over here it was really pretty good. I mean, this is my best field as far as yield map goes. So it's kind of interesting. There's this swath through here, and it just sort of looks like it just turns and goes up this direction of really poor soil. And I don't know if that's because it's I don't know if it's a pH problem or if it's a nitrogen problem. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see. It's going to be interesting to see the results down here when I get my analysis back. One thing I need to change. One thing I need to change on this drill is I think it gets dirty too fast. I think I'm gonna have to go in and do a little do a little fiddling around with the mod itself to see if I can maybe get it to where it doesn't get dirty quite so fast. Because you know, when we started this episode, it was still pretty clean, and now it's pretty much filthy. If it was to get this dirty in real life, it would probably be so muddy that I would not be out here showing meat. But anyways. So I'm interested to know, put it down in the comments if you would please, is anybody still playing FS19? Or have all of you guys that watch these FS19 episodes, are you all over playing FS22 already? And if you are mostly playing FS22 right now, do you think you'll at some point go back to FS19? Because it's weird to me. You know, I've been playing Farming Simulator since 2011. The first Farming Simulator version that I ever played was Farming Simulator 2011. Shortly after it came out, I discovered Farming Simulator. And you know, in the past, whenever a new Farming Simulator version would come out, now generally speaking here, because there was a couple of versions that I didn't really care for at all. FS15 was one of them. I didn't play FS15 hardly at all. I just kind of skipped from FS 2013 to FS 17. But anyways, usually in the past, when it comes to Farming Simulator, when a new episode would be released, I would either, you know, purchase it and play it a little bit to get a tasty of it, to see, you know, what I thought, and I would either go back to the previous version and just keep on playing it, or I would stick with the newest, latest released version, and I would never go back. I mean, I say never. I would basically never go back to that previous version. So it was either, you know, play the latest version and decide that, nah, I don't really care for it, I'll just keep playing the old one. Or I would play the latest version and say, oh yeah, this one's got so many cool new features that I'm just gonna stick with playing this one, and I'm never going back to the old one. What are you guys doing? What do you think? Is FS22 so great already that you just, you know, you're abandoning FS19 and you're never going back to it? Or are you kind of like me, where it's like, this is kind of the first time that a new FS version has been released, where I'm kind of like, you know, FS22 is really a pretty good game out of the box. When in past, some FS versions have been okay right out of the box, and some of them have been pretty much just duds right out of the box. Well, not duds, but duds for a person like me, who plays a ridiculous amount of Farming Simulator. I actually used to play a lot more Farming Simulator than I play now. So what do you think? Because I'm really curious. Like I said, for me, this is the first time that I can remember when I thought, yeah, Farming Simulator or FS22, it's really pretty good. But at the same time, I'm like, FS19, you know, by the time that they released FS22, FS19 was so good, and it was so many great mods, and so many great um, you know, gameplay changing mods that it's pretty hard for me to let go. And I mean, I'm not somebody that gets just really hung up on just the latest and greatest graphics. I mean, to be honest with you, since I've been playing since 2011, I know how far Farming Simulator has come since 2011. And I'm sitting here, I'm looking around at this map, I'm looking at this equipment, and I'm just thinking to myself, I don't really need it to get much better than this. Like honestly, like it doesn't need to get a whole lot better than this for me to be, you know, perfectly entertained. Like I don't need, I know that did a lot of the ground textures and things like that have changed in the new FS 22, and they've got that I don't know, I forget what it's called, but they've got that thing where, when you look at the ground a certain way or you look at the buildings and stuff a certain way, it looks more 3D. And I'm just like, I really don't need any of that stuff. I just, I just want to play the game. One thing about Farming Simulator that I really wish that they would make better, instead of concentrating so much on making the graphics and all look better, which I know that most casual gamers want the graphics to look better in every new iteration of the game. I know that, I get it. That's what sells games. I wish they would take the time and make the background of the game function better. Like, let's make it more realistic. Don't just make it harder. Don't just say, oh, you get less money for your crops, and oh, fertilizer is more expensive, so we'll just make it harder for you to, make money. Don't do that. I mean, make give the game more depth. And I know in FS22 that they've introduced production chains and things like that, and maybe that'll be. I was pretty excited about that aspect. Not that I've ever played FS19 with any of the global. What's it called? Global factories, global company. I never really played with any of those production factories or anything like that. It just never really interested me all that much. Um, but I was pretty optimistic about it in FS22, and I still sort of am. But it's not. I've played with it some offline in FS22, and it's not amazing enough yet that I really care, I guess. So I don't know. So tell me again in the comments, what do you guys think, for you guys that comment? And I encourage everybody to comment, because whoever watched this video, I'm curious to know what you think. I really am. But what's the game changing aspect for you of FS22 over FS19? Like, what has you going to FS22 over FS19? Assuming that you played FS19 before. I mean, maybe the FS22 is the first time you ever played Farming Simulator. I know some people like that. All right. Well, I think we got a pretty good handle on this. I want to show you guys now the aspect of the real life numbers mod that conflicts with the unit converter like mod that I usually use. So let's go and take a look at that now. And I'm really quite excited about it. Now, I know I told you guys, we'll just run down, we'll just kind of run down through here, and I'll tell you a little more about it. Now, this is not going to make a whole lot of sense to a lot of you because it's in liters. It's in dollars per 1,000 liter. So we won't worry about this too much. I'll just mention that the real life numbers mod allows you to change yield numbers, and it allows you to set a range in which the prices for all the crops will always fall under. I hope that makes sense. So that's all I'll mention here. Don't doesn't really mention too much on this page. It doesn't really mention too much on this page either. Let's see here. Seed costs. I had to buy some seed. What else do we have today? I don't know. Wonder where... Huh. I was kind of wondering where the... Oh, I must have not been charged yet. So I was wondering where the where my soil sampling charges would have gotten put, but maybe I haven't been charged yet. I'm not sure where that's gonna be. Huh? I don't know. Anyways, back to what we were talking about, the real life numbers mod and what all you can change. Contracts I mentioned in the last episode. So I'm not going to go over that again. We'll just mention that you can change it. What was that? Oh, there we go. Soil samples analyzed. There we are. So let's go back. I wonder where that got charged to. Did it get charged? Sure, it shows up here somewhere. Okay, it just goes under other. All right, fair enough. That didn't take very long actually. So contracts, yep, you can change contracts. This shouldn't really. Okay, let's go back to what I was telling you about a minute ago. So one of the other really cool things about the real life numbers mod is that you can lease land. Yep, you heard me right. You can lease land. So, you know, right now I'm just getting started out. I don't have a whole lot of cash, and being able to lease land is really, it's a game changer for someone who's just starting out on a farm. So let's look real quick here at the mechanism. Now, the mechanism is not real, it's not real eloquent, but we'll take a look here. So you go into the lands like you usually would when you want to buy something. And now you're seeing a lot of green here, and I own all this in green, but I don't pretend like I pretend like I don't own all this in green. And in the future, I'm not going to own all this in green. I just go back and watch the series from the start if you want to understand why I own all this in the green. I don't claim to own all this in the green. In the game that I'm playing, all I own is 32, 33, 34, and 35. That's it. Okay. But anyways. All right, so let's see here. I think let's look at 22 and 23. Okay, so it gives me the field info, you know, how many hectares. It gives all that stuff from precision farming. Now, let's look down here at, let's get this so we can see it. Now, here's the value, right? And so by looking at this value, I can already tell that this 22 and 23, this is not a piece of property that's up for rent. So this piece of property right here is only up for sale. And there's only certain properties that are available to lease. Some of them are only available to purchase. So that's another cool thing. And you can set that. You can go into the real life numbers mod and you can set which ones you want to be able to lease, which ones you want to be able to buy. So that's changeable. That's edited by, you know, I could edit that. So now let's look at one that I'm potentially interested in leasing one of these days. Let's look at 21. So here you'll notice that the value for 21 is $362. What that means, or what I know from that, is that this field 21 is available for lease. And the way it works is that it's a 1-year lease. So every year, if you want to keep the field, every year you got to pay $362. And you can change this too. What this $362 is it's a percentage of the regular purchase price. So in other words, if I wanted to make this field 22 and 23, if I wanted to go into the script files of the real life numbers mod, if I wanted to make this field to where I could rent it, it would just be a percentage, and I think it's 3.3%, or it might be 3.5%. I forget off the top of my head, but it's a percentage. If I was to rent this, or if I was to make this available to rent, it would just be a percentage of the total land value. And so that's how it works. So this $362 is a percentage of the total land value, and which, by the way, it gives you the real life numbers mod also gives you the ability to change how much how many dollars per hectare all the land on the map is worth. Now you can change that without the real life numbers mod, but it also gives the real life numbers mod also gives you the ability to change that. So anyways, this is the one of the things about the real life numbers mod that I think is really cool. The ability to lease land. Like this 21 is available to lease. All this property over here that's right across the road from me is available to lease. I don't think 36 is. No, 36 is not. 37. 37 is. I could lease 37. It's right next to 35. Let's see. Up here, this one. This is not available to lease. See, because it's got the full regular purchase price on it. Let's see. 25 is not. 24 is not. 26. 26 is. So see, I could lease 26. So it's a neat way to, be able to, it's a neat way to be able to help you get started when you're just starting out as a farmer. And I mean, that's honestly, that's what a lot of farmers do. They lease land. Not everybody can land prices are going up and up and up every day. Not everybody can afford to drop, $600,000, $700,000 or 1.2 million on a piece of property to be able to farm. So a lot of farmers depend on leasing land to operate. So I think it's a cool aspect of the mod, among many cool aspects of the mod that I'm talking about. And again, it's the real life numbers mod. I will put I downloaded the mod. I actually found the mod on a different website, but I wanted to know where the mod author originally posted the mod for download, and so I went kind of digging around, and the mod author, the original download post or upload post, I guess. He originally uploaded it to ModHoster, so to make it available for download. So if you're interested in looking for it, it's the real life numbers mod. I'll try to remember, and I'll put a link for it in the description of this video. And if you didn't watch the last video, I'm gonna say it again. The real life numbers mod is not for everybody. It is going to make the game hard. It is gonna make it a little more grueling. Now I like it. It is definitely gonna make the game more realistic. And it's going to give you the ability to edit lots and lots of parameters of the game to make the game how you want to play it. Basically, the real life numbers mod is everything that I wish Giants would implement in the base vanilla game. I wish Giants would maybe not place so much emphasis on the latest and greatest graphics, and they would work more on the core of the game and the economics of the game and the agronomics of the game. Now, I know most people who buy the game are not as hardcore as I am, and they want the shiniest, newest, latest, and greatest graphics. They want it to be easy. They want to just, play it for 2 hours and own the whole map and have all the tractors and all this stuff. I know that, and so I understand why Giants places the emphasis where they place it. But I'm grateful for modders so that they can help us be able to play the game however we want to play it, whether it be ultra realistic the way I like to play, or far from realistic like other people like to play. That's the great thing about Farming Simulator and the mods that authors create. We can play it however we want to play it. Okay. Now, that's a pretty tight turn to have the drill on the ground in real life, but it's Farming Simulator, so I guess we'll go with it. So it looks like we're going to have to taxi all the way back down to the end here. We've just about got this field whipped, and we're going to have 4 outside rounds to make. This episode is already creeping up on about 45 minutes long, so you guys probably aren't get to see the end of this field, but it's just like what we've been seeing the rest of the time. I'm really impressed by how well Courseplay handles these fields, and I know that they're basically just square, so it shouldn't be that difficult for Courseplay to handle them nicely. But Courseplay really does a good job. I'm impressed so far. Maybe it helps that I kind of have an idea of how to set these fields up when I do the course generation. But my hat's off to the Courseplay devs. They've really done a good job. It's been interesting to see Courseplay progress since I started using it. I started using Courseplay in Farming Simulator 2013. That's the first time I used Courseplay, and ever since then it's just been one of those mods where it's like the game's not even fun without it. And I'm glad that the devs did finally get an official version out for FS19. Alright guys, I thank you for watching. If you're already subscribed, thank you very, very much. If you liked the episode, if you enjoyed it, please give me a thumbs up. If you're not subscribed and you enjoyed the video, please consider subscribing. I would appreciate it. And, it's just as easy to unsubscribe as it is to subscribe. So, if you subscribe, that way you know when new episodes come out. And you see, you watch a couple of new episodes and you kind of think, this guy's not really for me. You can always just unsubscribe. Alright guys, I'm going to let you go here. I appreciate your time, and we will see you later. Probably in some of the next episodes, we're going to be doing some trimming of some trees and some general cleanup work and some things like that. So stay tuned, and we will see you.